I gave this message at my church 2 weeks ago. We were doing a topic on faith, and I'm a youth intern, for those of you who didn't know, at First Baptist Church of Barrow, so it's my turn to talk. And I was the last person to talk about this topic on faith, and I didn't really know what to do, because everybody had covered everything, so I just said, you know what, I'll just give my testimony and kind of integrate faith into my life and how it affected me. And I was thinking of the title, wanted it to be catchy, and I thought of Dan in Real Life. I mean, how many of you guys have seen that movie? Yeah, awesome. I had just seen it recently, so I thought about it, and mostly just the way that Dan, his parents treat him kind of poorly, his siblings beat up on him, and everything seems to go wrong for Dan. Now, I'm not saying that that's my story at all, but the point of it, I think one of the points of that movie is that the things that Dan gets out of life despite some of the bad things that happen to him. And I think that he had to have a lot of faith. Not necessarily in God in that movie, but he had to have a lot of faith just that things were going to work out in the end. And they did. And so, I don't have a movie clip to show, because I can't find one. The first point here is life rarely goes the way we expect it to. And I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with Hebrews 11, the faith chapter. And verse 39 says, "These were all commended for their faith, yet none of them received what had been promised." And this is talking about earlier in the chapter. It says, "By faith, Abraham, even though he was past age, and Sarah herself barren, was able to become a father." And names a lot of, by faith, Moses, his parents hid him for 3 months after he was born. Names a bunch of Old Testament characters and how they acted in faith, and then how God rewards that. And to start off with, this is not my, this is how I was born again, because I was raised in church, became a Christian when I was 4 years old, and so life was going pretty normal for me, Christian growth, okay? Homeschooled till 5th grade, and then my parents sent me to private school at Bradshaw Christian. And it was kind of, junior high goes normally. High school, typically everyone just has a little change of pace. And things rarely go the way we expected. Freshman year and half of sophomore year, I continued going to Bradshaw. Life was just smooth. I had been going there since 5th grade. Easy. Nothing changing. Just real simple for me. Halfway through my sophomore year, I was just getting really disappointed in my school. And my teachers were dissatisfying to me. I wanted more of a challenge in some of my classes, and for some odd reason, I thought that I could get that by being homeschooled. On top of that, I'll admit that I really liked this guy, and his name was Matt, and some of you might know him. And that was part of my motivation for coming home. It's because a lot of my friends were just in the homeschool community, and I knew that by being homeschooled, I could be in the homeschool choir, I could be more involved in Awana, these church things that the rest of my friends were really involved in, that I couldn't really be because I was really busy with my schoolwork at my school. So, I chose to come home. My parents let me make that decision. I look back on it and I regret it. But it was a part of my life that God really used. I at first really enjoyed what I was doing. I enjoyed being with my closest friends and being closest to that group that I really cared about. But that lasted sophomore year, and all of junior year. At the end of my junior year, I broke up with my boyfriend, and because of that, a lot of friendships in that little group kind of split a little bit. They became a little distant, and it was strange for me. I didn't really know where to go, because I didn't keep in touch with my friends from Bradshaw. They were all in Elbro, so I just left that in behind. It didn't matter to me. And so I was just kind of wondering, where am I in life? And after the summer, after my junior year, I wanted the challenge again. I was in some online classes, and basically I was very satisfied. Again, I see this pattern. I can never be satisfied with what I want to do. And so my parents and I were just thinking about all our options, and we said, how about you go to junior college, or some of the classes you're allowed to take at Sac State? Because I had taken a Chem 305 class from junior college, and then econ class from Sac State. Just one, but it was, enough to kind of keep me on my toes a little bit. And my parents and I said, well, how about you just do more of this your senior year, and just finish off that way, and graduate that way. And I said, all right, that's fine. But God had a different plan. And once again, I wasn't expecting to be leaving Bradshaw sophomore year, but I wasn't expecting what was about to happen. About a week before school was going to start for Bradshaw Christian, and we were still in touch with the school because my sister is dealing with. My parents and I were just kind of discussing my future, and they said, well, why don't you go back to Bradshaw? And I'm like, oh, no, number one, we are not in a financial situation for that. Like I have today with the finances. And number two, it's a week before school starts. And it's just my senior year. Why would I jump back into my old school 1 year before I graduate? To me, a change of pace is not my cup of tea. I like things to stay fit. So to jump back and forth was just, And, but that's what God wanted, and He made it happen. And the first thing to come up was, I don't really remember exactly how it occurred, but my dad was talking to the principal's wife at Bradshaw, and he just kind of lightly mentioned the idea of me coming back. Still lightly. And she's like, oh, yeah, we have the scholarship. What? Bradshaw doesn't get scholarships. Okay, we've tried. It's expensive. And they have a scholarship. Yeah, and it would cover about half my tuition. Okay, all right, God. And so then we started considering it was financial, and I'm like, whatever, I don't even care at this point. Just get me out of it. And I talked to my past best friend, Brianna Yaden, from freshman and sophomore year, and I just kind of mentioned to her the idea of me coming back to Bradshaw. She just gasped. I was like, what? What's up? What's going on here? She's like, Emily, her best friend, Shelby, she had been best friends with in 3rd grade. They, it's kind of hard to explain the whole story, but basically, Brianna just felt God pulling at her heart, saying, you need to step away from that friendship because Shelby doesn't believe in me, and she's not helping you with your relationship with me. Said God. And so she did. She kind of broke that off, and it was a hard thing. And she did that at the same time that I broke up with my boyfriend. Now, of course, she didn't break up with Shelby, but it was kind of the same relationship. We both lost our best friends. Brianna and I were really close at Bradshaw, but it didn't stick while I was away. Anyway, she said that she had been praying all summer, just God, bring me someone to just fill that gap in. You know what? I had been too. A best friend, bring someone to fill that gap in my heart that I have right now. And she's like, you know what? And you're it, Emily. Oh, all right. I'm it. Well, that's the way it ended up working out. And indeed, I was the answer to her prayer from God, and she was the answer to mine. And what was really interesting is all throughout the rest of high school, things kept working out. The more we talked about our past relationships, hers with Shelby and mine with Matt, the more they were parallel. The same. We could relate to each other in every single way. On top of that, Brianna and I are pure opposites, and so we really feel like God, used each other to fill in our holes. I fill in her lack of this, and she fills in my lack of that. And that was such an answer to prayer. And it really blessed my senior year. So, I look back, and God is good. He has all purposeful plans that fulfills all our expectations. go back to Bradshaw and totally be just so satisfied with where God brought me. Verse 40 says, God has planned something better for us, so that only together with us would they be made perfect. And this comes back to listening to God, because just as easily as I listened to Him and His will, I could have ignored it. And God always has something better planned for us, always. And I mean, can you remember the last time that you really wanted something in particular, and it happened, and then it just seemed like the perfect thing? Or when was the last time that you wanted something, God said, no, do this, and you did that, and that was the perfect thing? I mean, I can't remember the last time I made my own decision, big decision, that turned out perfect. It's always God's plan, but it turned out perfect for us. Like I said, His plans are always better. And this is one of my very favorite verses, you guys. Philippians 1:6, being confident in this, that He who began a good work in you will carry it on until the day of Christ Jesus. So, it's not that I had stepped away from God in high school, but my senior year, because my relationship with Brianna was such a blessing because of the teachers He put in my life, and I grew in my relationship with Him in countless ways. And this verse always reminds me that when God started that in me, now, I mean, He ultimately began it in me when I was 4, but that's kind of where I view the start of my really strong, loving relationship with my Father, who always was best. And He'll carry this out until the day of Christ Jesus, until the end of my life. He'll always have a better plan, and He'll always be proposing something that I didn't see because He knew it better than I did. And so that's kind of where I'm at and where I have been. And I really appreciate you guys just coming and listening to the David Fisher, who's my